Oh, hey everybody! It is Thursday morning here at the Cummins factory, and here's what we got going on. This motor mount. Let me get the light on there a little better. This light sucks. Anyways, this motor mount is done. It's in there. It's all tacked in. Got some plate the other day. That's how much I needed. I've fit the air compressor and notched the little corner here where the compressor it just barely sits in there. So when the motor comes back out, so I can final weld these guys, I'll build a little boxing plate for in there. And underneath, I've been working on notching the oil pan for the steering. So the tricky part with this is this piece, as the steering goes back and forth, actually moves in and out as well, just from the pivot arm doing its arc thing. So what started out as just a little notch has kind of escalated into this. But I think we are almost there. This hole is also a little bit bigger. Let me get the light in here. This light sucks. So this hole is also a little bit bigger because on this side, this actually goes up and down as well. So I think I have this just about where it needs to be. I'm going to notch it a little bit more right there. And then we can weld that up. And I'm assuming, I don't have the oil pickup in there right now. It is over here on the bench, but I'm assuming we're probably going to have to cut this and extend it to move this little pickup screen further back into the sump. That's what we're working on today. Okay, there she's notched. This is very hard to hold the camera and steer. No, it's not happening. You'll just have to take my word for it. Okay, that's full lock to the left, and you probably can't see it, but there's just a sliver of clearance in there, which is all that we need, I think, because we're hitting on the spindle stop up there. And there it is, turned all the way to the right, the full spindle stop, and yeah, we got lots of room in there. And up here we have just enough, I can just get my fingers through. The weight is on the suspension so that it's up as high as it will go. So we should be okay. I think I'm going to pull this oil pan off now and weld this hole up. Should probably weld that up. That's going to leak. I'm building a template here for this guy, kind of like that. And I thought I'd show you this cool trick. So to make that template, it's very awkward to get to, right? So I already made it, but figured I'd show you how to do it. So we'll just cut this flat here. Okay, if you shove that in there where it's touching, take a pen. Or it doesn't have to be a pin, anything really. Just go like that. Now you got your shape. With that bent up, it just goes right in there. like so. I left it a little bit big, so on the spots that's close, I'm gonna tack it, and then I can kind of shave this down to fit properly. It's easier to take something big and make it small than to take something small and make it big. The oil pan's all welded up. I welded both sides just because I don't want this thing to leak at all. Probably gonna maybe, I don't know, fill it up with water if I'm super ambitious to see if it leaks, because I hate oil leaks. So now that that's done, this brings us to another problem. Because if you refer back to Newton's law of automobiling, every time you change something, you got to change 8 other things. My pickup tube's not long enough, so we're going to have to cut it and extend it so that this guy here drops down like that. All right, here's your other tip of the day. So I got to cut this thing and extend it, but I don't want to lose these angles. These are clocked a particular way. So what I'm going to do is put a straight edge on there, and then take this paint pen, because this is kind of greasy. And, oh man, this paint pen's not working very good. Hold on. There we go. Okay. We're going to make a line on there. So now, once we cut that and extend it, once it's extended, as long as our lines line up again, this should be clocked all right. Make sense? Makes sense. So a total fluke, in my scrap bucket under the bench here, I have a piece of tubing. It's exactly the same. So we can extend this guy. There it is. I extended it 4 inches, and it fits in there really nice now. When it's all bolted up, it should sit kind of like that. So now that the oil pan's done, the pickup's done, the next step is we're going to pull the whole engine and transmission back out, weld up these perches on each side in there, box this little air conditioning pocket in, and paint these frame rails. Give them a coat of, I don't know, pour 15 or something, maybe trim clad. Whatever I have laying around, I guess. Well, that's that. Nothing left to do now. Say hi to Jim. There's nothing left to do now except watch paint dry. I painted this brown. I thought I had some black Pour 15 left over from when we painted Shannon's floors, but I have no idea where it is, so I'm assuming it got used up. And I had this brown rust paint left over. I absolutely hate it. I wish I would have went with black, but I don't hate it enough to go to the store and get some black, so it's going to be brown. Engine is ready to go back in. Oil pan is painted. Pickup tube is in. So I'm going to head to bumper, I think, right away. Because I got, remember in the last video, that drag link thing was all wore out. I got a brand new drag link and tie rods to go in this thing. So while I was waiting for the paint to dry, I had an oh crap moment, and I remembered when I put this in the first time, the very first mock-up attempt, I couldn't get the oil pan to go to clear the cross member, so I took the oil pan off. And then the whole time, every time the engine was going in and out, in and out, in and out, testing the steering and stuff like that, I had the oil pan just a couple bolts on, and I kept taking it off and sliding it out the back, pulling the motor out. So as you just saw, I put the oil pan on, like put it on with the gasket, and it's all torqued and everything. And I was sitting there watching the paint dry, and I was like, uh-oh. So I undid both cab mounts and lifted the cab up, but it is still, it's like, it's so close. It is that close to going in. And the rocker cover is hitting the firewall. The oil pan's hitting the cross member. So I might try to jack it up a little bit higher. I'm up like 4 inches right now. Or I was thinking I could pull it back out and take that last rocker cover off. But I got to take the stud out too. It's actually not even the rocker cover that's touching. It's the stud is hitting the firewall. So yeah. Whoops. Yeah, it's in. It squeezed through. Look at this. Look at this sketchiness. So that's safe. It's safe because I've got all these giant 2x4s on this super long jack stand. It's good. It'll be fine. It's like up as high as it will go. It's just making contact right there. Just squeezed through. I'm so stoked though. All right, this paint is still wet, and I haven't scratched it much other than the little oil pan rubbage. But I can live with that because you'll never see it when it's in there. It's going to be under the oil pan. So I'm going to call it a night and let this hopefully dry. This is, ugh, I don't know why I just touched that. It's still pretty sticky, so hopefully it's dry tomorrow, and then this thing can go in for good. It's Friday morning and we're heading to get my parts for the front suspension. I didn't go get them yesterday while I was waiting for paint to dry. I just started putting the engine in instead. While picking up parts, I also stopped at the screen printing shop and picked up a fresh order of t-shirts, so they'll be on the website, lgspeedcustom.com. If If you don't have one already, make sure you get one. It's in. It's in for good. Now all that's left is everything else. Got to hook up power steering lines, got to measure the drive shaft and figure that out. What else? Electrical. What else? This is still a little bit sticky. Yeah, bunch of stuff left to do. Start putting the front sheet metal on. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to do the exhaust first and the steering first because it's nice and easy to work on. And once that stuff's done, then the front sheet metal can go on. We can start figuring out the intercooler stuff. So here's the Ford power steering line, and here's the Dodge power steering line, and they kind of go together about like that. So what I'm going to do is go down to the hydraulic shop and get them to crimp a fitting on here that will thread into this fitting that's already there, and that should take care of the power steering pressure hose. The return hose doesn't matter. I can just cut that off, slide this guy on, put it back in, because this side's not under pressure. And just like that, we have the Cummins end and the Ford end connected. Let's go put that on. Power steering system is done. So for the brake booster, I just used the original hose and it went right on, no modifications required. The oil pressure of this truck had a mechanical gauge in it. So I just unthreaded the Dodge sending unit and threaded in just the mechanical guy. That was easy. For the temperature, I actually broke the Cummins one going in, so I just got a little bushing here. That's the sender out of the 390, so it should work fine with the gauge that was in there. And yeah, this will just thread into the back of the cylinder head. Okay, it's Saturday morning. Yesterday, as you saw, we got the power steering done, we got the brake booster done, we got a couple of the gauges hooked up. We also went and got a bunch of parts. We got a new drag link and tie rod because the other one, you remember, it was wore out. We got a new rag joint, which I haven't picked up yet. It should be in today. Got a transmission filter kit. We got a fuel filter. We got an oil filter. We got some oil. So we're going to start picking away at just more stuff on the list, I guess. I like to get the steering done because then I can move the truck. It doesn't need to be underneath here anymore because the engine's in for good. So I think I'll focus on that first. And yes, thank you. I did get a haircut yesterday, actually. Thank you for noticing. I quite like it. All right, let's get to it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to tackle on my list is, remember this cross member that I cut out to get the transmission in? We're going to make a new one to go in there. So I cut some of these brackets out. And we're going to, the brackets will bolt up like that, and they're going to weld to this piece of 2x3 tubing so that the tubing will bolt to the bottom and run underneath there. Okay, with the cross member finished up, I'm going to move on to the rag joint now. The rag joint was in pretty tough shape. In fact, when I lifted the cab up to get the engine in, it actually just crumbled right apart. So I just got back from seeing old Rick and got a new one. So we're going to put that in now because this one's garbage and it's so easy to get to right now. Oh, there goes my wrench. Okay, my apologies. I thought I was recording while I put that in, but when I went to stop the camera, I realized I was not recording. So there it is in there. It was kind of a pain in the ass, so I'm not going to take it apart again to film putting it in. But it's in there. I had to take this plate off, loosen the steering column off, slide it up, put the new piece in, slide it back down. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, there it is, back on the ground again. I moved it over so that it's not like right dead center in the middle of the shop. So there's a little bit of room to walk around now, a little bit more room to work on this Model A. One thing I've always kind of wondered is how much lower it's going to sit with the extra weight. And this truck is lowered with, I've got 3-inch drop die beams in there, and I also cut one coil. So I think I might have to put the stock coils back in, because with this extra little bit of weight, well, I don't even know if it's the weight or just the dimensions of the engine, but the oil pan's a little bit low, and I'm concerned that it is in like speed bump. When I come off a speed bump, it's probably going to touch. So the other thing I might be able to do is with that other brace I put in there, I might be able to put like a skid plate between there and the front cross member. But I think I'll probably start with replacing these coil springs with a fresh set of uncut stock OEM replacement ones. So we'll go from there. What's on our list over here? So cab is done, power steering's done, brake booster's done, rag joint is done, oil's done, water is done. Still got to do the transmission line. I just dug the Cummins, or I guess the Dodge transmission lines out, and there's a bung in there already, so I'm just going to use that for the transmission temperature. Rag joint's done, steering linkage is done, one engine ground is done, radius rod brace is done. We still got a lot to go, but just pick it off one piece at a time. Okay, I think I'm going to call that the end of this video because it's Saturday evening. It's almost 5 o'clock. And even though this is only like a half an hour long video, it was actually like 3 days worth of work, and I'm kind of exhausted. So we're going to stop right there and start up, I guess, next week with more whatever's on the list. I have no particular order or plan. I'm just kind of picking through it with whatever I feel like. Make sure to check out the website, lgspeedcustom.com. I just put the new shirts up on there. So the inventory should all be up to date. If you've been waiting for one, they're coming. So thanks for everybody for your patience. Thanks to the Cavaleros once again. More great music from them. Thanks to Rick and Chris at Bumperland, because they've been helping me out a lot on this. What else? Thanks to Jim and Shannon for the help the last couple days. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and comment and notifications and all, you know the drill. You know all that stuff. Tell your friends. Yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, get that bear. Get that bear.